Good evening and welcome to our special meeting of Wednesday, December the 23rd. I have with me Councillor Stephen Erdely, Councillor Dita Burku, Councillor Sidney Ben-Isri, Councillor Mike Cohen, Councillor Mitch Kajavsky, Councillor David Torgman, and from staff, we have our City Clerk, Jason Prevost. We have our Co-City Manager, Jonathan Schechter, and our Treasurer, Angelo Marino. And before we start the meeting, we will have a moment of silence, as we should at every meeting. People are still battling the virus. We learned of some other individuals close to some of the members on council who are battling the virus, lose people every day. So we'll have a moment of silence and pray for everybody's recovery and remember all those who have passed. Okay, so this is the follow-up to our budget meeting of Monday, dealing with rates, and we have bylaws to pass and some business. It should go relatively quickly. We'll pass it over to Councillor Erdely. And we have no questions. By the way, I don't. Do we have any questions? No,
Mr. Mayor, we have no questions tonight.
Okay, we have no questions. All right. So, Major Erdely, we'll move to item number 2.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just as I mentioned, there's a little bit of a distortion. I'm not sure if it's on your end or on my end, so hopefully everyone, the rest of the council and everyone who's watching at home can hear me clearly. So the first item, I'll start with the motion, is be it resolved that Bylaw 2572, entitled Bylaw 2572 concerning the taxes of the City of Côte Saint-Luc for the fiscal year 2021 be and is hereby adopted.
Moved by Councillor Erdely, seconded by Councillor Burku.
So just to mention, so this is basically a follow-up to our second meeting of Monday night. So this is the adoption of the tax rates. And as mentioned, the average Côte Saint-Luc residential home or residential property will receive a 0% tax increase. So this sets out the tax rates. They are available, just to mention, on our city website. So any resident can go to the city website. You can see, for example, the operating budget that we presented, both the PDF and in Excel format. You can see a video of the presentation and the slides that I presented on Monday. You can also see the insert of the tax flyer that will be going out in January. There's a link to check your property tax, although I just checked it today, so it's still showing the tax bill from 2020. The tax bill for 2021 will be available in January, towards the end of January. And there's also a video tutorial on the website for residents that want to go online. You can go online, like I said, you're able to check. I know I saw this morning, you could see the last few years. So I was able to see the last 3 years, but once you sign up, you can see that year and of course all the years moving forward. So thank you, Mr. Mayor. I think you're on mute. Mr. Mayor, we can't hear you.
I know, I'm trying to, I'm on 2 computers, seeing if the other one is working better.
So
how's the sound now? Does it sound better?
Better, though there's a bit of an echo, but it's better.
Okay. Okay, moved and seconded. All in favor? Carried unanimously. I'm going to go off of this computer and see if we're better on the other one. Sorry.
All right.
Okay, at least the sound is clear. So now we move to item number 3, Councillor Erdely.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Be it resolved that the Côte Saint-Luc City Council hereby approves the second renewal agreement with PG Solutions based on December 12, 2011 agreement with modifications indicated in the first and second renewal agreement as mutually agreed by both parties. That the second renewal agreement is for a term of 3 years beginning January 1st, 2021 and ending on December 31st, 2023 for a total amount of $475,946 plus applicable taxes for the 3-year term. That the second renewal agreement includes 2 option years beginning January 1st, 2024 and ending on December 31st, 2025, and that the attached Annex 1 to the new master agreement 2021 to 2023 form an integral part of this resolution. That a treasurer certificate will be issued by the treasurer in January of 2021 and at the start of each subsequent year of the term to attest to the availability of funds to cover the described expenses, and that the city's general counsel be and is hereby authorized to sign the renewal agreement.
Moved by Councillor Erdely, seconded by Councillor Torgman. Any discussion?
So just to share briefly, so PG is the company that supplies us with our software maintenance and support system. And this covers virtually all the departments. I'm just looking at your list. Covers finance, taxation, purchasing, engineering, complaints, permits, inventory, online recreation, registration, and actually quite a few more. So this is the main software we use. It is approved by the Quebec government. It's bilingual software as well. And it's one we've been using at least since I became a councillor. So for at least the last 15 years. So this is a renewal agreement.
Okay, all in favor? Anyone opposed? Carried unanimously, and we move to item number 4, Councillor Erdely.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Be it resolved that the Côte Saint-Luc City Council approves the renewal of the agreement with Innovative Interfaces based on the same terms and conditions as the September 21st, 2015 agreement as mutually agreed by both parties. That the renewal of the agreement is for a term of 1 year beginning January 1st, 2021 and ending on December 31st, 2021 for a total amount of $51,489 plus applicable taxes. And that treasurer certificate will be issued by the treasurer in January of 2021 to attest the availability of funds to cover the described expenses, and that the city's general counsel be and is hereby authorized to sign any document related to the renewal of this agreement.
Moved by Councillor Erdely, seconded by Councillor Cohen. Any discussion?
So this is a renewal agreement. This is for the library. It's the software that's been used at the library since 2016. And this is what allows us, for example, for residents to borrow books and keep a tally of all the books. Again, it's one we've been using for the last 4 years and intend on renewing this year.
So it's moved and seconded. All in favor? Carried unanimously. And then we move to item number 5, Councillor Erdely.
So the next items, there's no official vote, just to mention. So these I'll be giving notice of motion, and I'll be tabling a draft bylaw for each of these.
So why don't you go start at 5 and go right through to 12.
Yeah, so I'll do each one. I'll do each one and just a quick explanation for each. So I hereby give notice of motion that bylaw 2559 to be entitled Bylaw authorizing a loan of $1,549,000 for the replacement of various lead service lines throughout the territory of the city of Côte Saint-Luc will be presented at a later meeting for adoption. I furthermore mention the object and scope of this bylaw to be entitled Bylaw authorizing a loan of $1,549,000 for the replacement of various lead service lines throughout the territory of the city of Côte Saint-Luc. And furthermore, I am tabling draft bylaw 2559, again entitled Bylaw authorizing a loan of $1,549,000 for the replacement of various lead service lines throughout the territory of the city of Côte Saint-Luc. So just to mention briefly, so this is for next year. The plan is to replace approximately 83 lead service lines and to do approximately 234 pneumatic excavations, which is where the city does a small test or a small excavation to see whether the pipe or which side of the pipe is lead versus copper, or if both sides, the resident and the city side, are copper. I'll move on to the next one. Okay. So next is item 6. I hereby give notice of motion that bylaw 2560 to be entitled bylaw authorizing a loan of $636,000, including professional fees for the resurfacing of roads and sidewalk repairs at various locations belonging to the city of Côte Saint-Luc, will be presented at a later meeting for adoption. I'm mentioning the object and scope of this bylaw. And furthermore, I'm tabling draft bylaw 2560 entitled bylaw authorizing a loan of $636,000, including professional fees for the resurfacing of roads and sidewalk repairs at various locations belonging to the city of Côte Saint-Luc. And just to mention briefly on this one, so the plan for the upcoming year is to do quite a few roads, including Côte Saint-Luc Road, Westminster, a section of Westminster, a stretch of Davies, and a stretch of Weissman Road. So and several sections of sidewalk. The total cost will be more in the vicinity of $4 million, but the remainder of the funds will come from the TECQ, the tech grant, which again is from the gas tax from the provincial and federal government. I'm going to move on now to item 7. Item 7, I hereby give notice of motion that bylaw 2561 to be entitled bylaw authorizing a loan of $410,000 to finance the costs, including professional fees to repair the underpass located on Côte Saint-Luc Road, which will be presented at a later meeting for adoption. I'm mentioning as well the object and scope, and furthermore, I'm tabling the draft bylaw 2561. So this one, just to reiterate, is for the repairs to the Côte Saint-Luc Road underpass. As we've done in the last few years, we've done significant work on both the Westminster and Cavendish underpass. So for the year 2021, the plan is to do the professional services with the work to be done following that. And this project will be done in conjunction with the City of Montreal. I'll move on to item 8. I hereby give notice of motion that bylaw 2562 to be entitled bylaw authorizing a loan of $179,000, including professional fees for the purchase and installation of various traffic lights and LED streetlights at various locations in the territory of the city of Côte Saint-Luc, will be presented at a later meeting for adoption. Furthermore, I'm mentioning the object and scope of this bylaw and tabling the draft bylaw 2562 at the same time. So just to reiterate for this again, the cost for 2021 will be more than the $179,000. This is the portion we'll be borrowing. There's still remaining funds for the LED project from 2020, as not all the funds from that portion have been used up. And again, just to mention, in the last year, we've replaced just over 500 streetlights with LEDs, and the plan over the next few years in multiple phases is to replace approximately 3,000 streetlights that we have in the city of Côte Saint-Luc. I'll move on to item 9. I hereby give notice of motion that bylaw 2563 to be entitled bylaw authorizing a loan of $210,000 for the purchase and planting of various trees on the territory of the city of Côte Saint-Luc will be presented at a later meeting for adoption. Furthermore, I'm mentioning the object and scope of this bylaw and tabling the draft of bylaw 2563. So as mentioned the other day, Côte Saint-Luc is in a tree deficit. Because of the Emerald Ash Borer, we've had to cut down over 1,000 trees in the last few years. We've been playing catch up, and by planting more trees over the next few years, we hope to reach that point where we'll be hopefully in the positive side in terms of the trees we plant. So in next year, it's in 210,000, and the goal is to try to bring that up to about 300,000 in following years. I'll move on to item 10. I hereby give notice of motion that bylaw 2564 to be entitled bylaw authorizing a loan of $358,000, including professional fees for facility upgrades for various parks within the territory of Côte Saint-Luc, will be presented at a later meeting for adoption. Furthermore, I'm mentioning the object and scope of the bylaw and tabling the draft bylaw at the same time. So with regard to the parks, the plan, I'm just pulling up the list here. So in terms of parks, we have work being done at Rembrandt Park, which is a basketball court. There's some work at the baseball field, at Kerwin Park with regard to the benches, Trudeau Park, the baseball field fence and benches, the senior garden, as well. There's some smaller park projects, but those are being done through the working fund, not through this loan bylaw. I'll move on to item 11. Item 11, I hereby give notice of motion that bylaw 2565 to be entitled bylaw authorizing a loan of $158,000 for the replacement of the carpet at the Eleanor London Public Library situated at 5851 Cavendish Boulevard will be presented at a later meeting for adoption. Furthermore, I'm mentioning the object and scope of the bylaw and tabling the draft bylaw 2564. So just to mention about this one, the last time the carpet was fully redone at the library was actually about 15 years ago. It was just shortly after I was elected for the first time. It was the library's 40th anniversary at that point, and major renovation was done and the carpet was replaced. As you can imagine, it's a high traffic area, and both for health and hygiene reasons, after a certain number of years, the carpet needs to be replaced. I'm going to move on to item 12. I hereby give notice of motion that bylaw 2566 to be entitled bylaw authorizing a loan of $263,000, including professional fees for the renovation of the building envelope of the Samuel Moscovich Arena and the Singerman Park Chalet will be presented at a later meeting for adoption. Furthermore, I'm mentioning the object and scope of this bylaw and tabling the draft bylaw 2566. So with regard to this bylaw, this is for work on the arena in terms of the building envelope and the Singerman Park Chalet. The arena, as you know, we've done quite a bit of work over the last few years. We redid the surface of the ice and the boards. This past year, we redid and did major work on the roof, and now it's the building envelope, and hopefully with that, the arena will be in perfect condition and won't need any major upgrades for many more years to come. And there'll be some work also on the Singerman Park Chalet. I'll move on to item 13. I hereby give notice of motion that bylaw 2567 to be entitled bylaw authorizing a loan of $105,000, including professional fees for the renovation of the building envelope at the Public Works building situated at 7001 Mackle Road will be presented at a later meeting for adoption. Furthermore, I'm mentioning the object and scope of the bylaw and tabling the draft bylaw 2567. So with regard to the building envelope, so this is to do the professional services. So in other words, to hire an engineering company that will take a look at what is needed with the long-term plan to do the work, hopefully the following year, hopefully in 2022 or 2023. And again, the goal is to keep the buildings in good shape so that they can last for many more years to come. I'm going to move on to item 14. I hereby give notice of motion that bylaw 2568 to be entitled bylaw authorizing a loan of $1,050,000 for the renovation of the Public Works yard situated at 7001 Mackle Road will be presented at a later meeting for adoption. Furthermore, I mentioned the object and scope of the bylaw and tabling the draft bylaw 2568. So this is to do some major renovations at the Public Works yard. This has been one that has been on the radar since, probably I would say since Councillor Torchman was the Director of Public Works, one that had been talked about quite a bit. The yards, as you can imagine, for those that have been there, it's mostly gravel. There's some issues with drainage when there's, in the springtime, when there's a big rainfall. We often have flooding that takes place. There's water infiltration into the ground that is not necessarily the best for the yard. So this is some major renovations that'll be done in the upcoming year. I'm going to move on to item 15. I hereby give notice of motion that bylaw 2569 to be entitled bylaw authorizing a loan of $300,000, including professional fees for the roof at the Aquatic and Community Center building situated at 5794 Park Haven Avenue will be presented at a later meeting for adoption. Furthermore, I'm mentioning the object and scope and tabling the draft bylaw 2569. So this is with regard to the roof of the ACC. Over the last few years, we've had some drainage issues that have led to some water infiltration, so the work needs to be done. And on the legal side, we may have to sort out responsibility, but that's a discussion that will be had at a different time. But basically, the work needs to be done because we want to make sure our buildings are in good shape and that they can be used by the residents to their fullest. And especially with, hopefully when COVID is done, when we are able to welcome residents back in their full numbers. I'll move on to item 16. I hereby give notice of motion that bylaw 2570 to be entitled Bylaw Authorizing a Loan of $441,000 for the purchase of vehicles and equipment will be presented at a later meeting for adoption. I'm also mentioning the object and scope of this bylaw and tabling the draft bylaw 2570. So there's two bylaws, this one and the next one. This is for the lighter vehicles. The next one is for the heavier vehicles, but just to give you an example of some of the vehicles, it includes 2 public security vehicles, a cargo van, a small tractor, and as mentioned last at the meeting on Monday, the public security vehicles and possibly another vehicle will be electric. So it's something we started a few years ago, and we're continuing to try to modernize the fleet and be more environmentally friendly and set a good example for our residents at the same time. And the last item, so just flipping windows here. The last item, 17. I hereby give notice of motion that bylaw 2571 to be entitled Bylaw Authorizing a Loan of $326,000 for the purchase of heavy vehicles and heavy vehicle equipment will be presented at a later meeting for adoption. Furthermore, I'm mentioning the object and scope of this bylaw and tabling the draft bylaw. And just to mention here, so some of the heavy vehicles include a 6-wheel dump truck, an asphalt roller, a 6-wheel tanker, a chassis truck cab. Actually, I'm not sure if that's a heavy vehicle or a light vehicle. But for government purposes, we subdivide them based on heavier vehicles or lighter vehicles. But again, each one will be adopted as a separate item once we go out for tender and are ready to purchase each of these vehicles. And with that, Mr. Mayor, I've done all the notices of motion.
Thank you, Councillor Erdely. Can you hear me? Everybody hears me, great. So before we adjourn, I just want to wish everybody a very happy holiday season. I know it's going to be a different type of break this year, but we want to let you know that we've been trying our best to ensure that you're busy, active, and healthy. So some of the things that you're going to be able to do this year during the holiday season, and I know there are a lot of different options, but the things the city's offering is, of course, our library, take out a book, our aquatic community center, go for a swim. We have our newly refrigerated annex, and we found a way that it will be open throughout the holidays from 8 a.m. in the morning till 11 o'clock at night without reservation. There'll be nets so people can play. And the law right now is you're allowed 8 people, 4 people on each team, and you'll be able to play hockey at the annex. There'll be 4 nets, so you can go on one side or the other side in the morning and in the evening after 6 o'clock. The rest of the day is going to be for free skate. We also have our arena. That's without reservations. The arena is with reservations. We have our tobogganing hill, which is going to be a little bit nicer in January than it is right now because we're having a professional company build something really nice. You might see in Murray Park in Westmount what they did. Well, we're doing the same thing in Trudeau Park, but it's not going to be completely ready until January. But over the holidays, you can still use the tobogganing hill, as I know some people are, and go snowshoeing, cross-country skiing. Stay outside, stay safe, be active. Of course, if you're at home, there's online activities, yoga, fitness, all kinds of things. Watch Netflix, eat your favorite food, enjoy the holidays, spend the time with your family. There's lots of ways to have fun. So we want you all to stay safe, be healthy. There is a light at the end of the tunnel. We just have to be patient and make sure that our most vulnerable get vaccinated and that our healthcare network is then in a much better position for us all to be able to move forward and eventually get the vaccine too. So have a great holiday season. I don't know if any of the councillors want to say a few words. You're more than welcome. I know it's Bailey's birthday, so I don't want to make it too long for Councillor Erdely, but if you want to say a quick happy holidays, please go ahead. Councillor Kajewski.
Yes, happy holidays to everyone. I just wanted to take a moment to thank our Parks and Recreation staff, particularly the director, for finding a way to give us that extra activity at the arena at Samuel Moscovich Arena, the Annex building. I know at one point, and there was a bit of confusion, so we apologize for that, but we did find a way to get those buildings open to give us another option of activities to do over the break. So thank you very much for their hard work. And everyone be safe over the holiday and take advantage of the pool and skating, and hopefully we get those outdoor rinks open next week as well. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Kajewski. Councillor Torchman.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So just a very quick happy holidays to everybody and to our staff. Thank you for all of the great work that you've done getting us through this last difficult year, and just hoping for a good and easy 2021 for everybody. And so happy New Year to everybody and all the best.
Anybody else? If not, stay safe, be well, enjoy. It's going to be okay. It's going to be okay, and we're going to have a great holiday. A little bit different being here back in the city for almost all of us, but we're together, and as long as we physically distance, we can have a lot of fun. So stay outside and be safe and enjoy yourself, and when you're at home, be in your bubble, having a great time, reading books, watching Netflix, eating, doing all the things you love. And we'll see you next year. So bye for now. Motion for adjournment. Moved by Councillor Torchman, seconded by Councillor Kajewski. All in favor? We are adjourned. Thank you.